Hi everyone, my name is Troy. This is my first YouTube video. I'm going to be doing a Cummins swap into my 95 Chevy crew cab long box dually. I'm making this video and many more to go over every little detail that seems to be missed in a lot of other videos. This is me doing everything myself with my brother in his shop, so I'm not highlighting someone else's build or showing another build. This is me doing what I want to do to my truck, and I'm gonna try and highlight and get into the little details of everything. So here's the start of my build, and follow along. Alright, so this is my 95 crew cab long box dually. It's an original 6.5 automatic truck, 4-wheel drive. I'm pulling that engine and transmission out and just ended up selling them for a core, but it got pulled out. Also, all the 4-wheel drive stuff got pulled out. I've picked up a 91 Cummins with the VE pump, and I have adventure vehicle Cummins motor mounts, and decided to paint my engine red with black valve covers. Also got a rebuilt NV4500 2-wheel drive that I'm putting into the truck, as it's no longer a 4-wheel drive. It's just going to be an RV hauler from now on. Now the engines and trannies all painted up. It'll be ready to get set in shortly. So I cut the 2 front bars in the front of the engine bay off and trimmed as the adventure vehicles wanted. I'm pulling the cab off of the truck mainly because I'm putting all new fuel lines, all brake lines, and it's just a lot easier for me to run all that and set the engine and transmission in and mock up the exhaust and all that with the cab off. Since we have the equipment to do it, I figured it'd just be a lot easier to do all that. Now I had a really hard time finding pressure plate bolts, as I bought a new used clutch and it didn't have bolts, and when I bought the engine it didn't have a flywheel, and when I bought the transmission it didn't have a clutch. So I'm going to put a picture up of the bolts that I used from ARP. So these are the ARP bolts. It's required to use 8. I had to get 2 packs of 5. I'm in Canada, so it was really hard to try and find anything around, so I had to get these from Mopac in Langley, BC. Now it was finally time to mate the tranny up to the engine and drill the holes for my motor mounts. So as you can see, I had to trim the bottom of the factory motor mounts off like it says on the Adventure Vehicles page. Adventure Vehicles motor mounts. Get some holes drilled. So this is just a bit of a time lapse of me drilling the holes in the factory motor mount area for the first gen motor mount isolators, and then we're going to get ready to set the engine in. So right here we're realizing that we put the motor mounts in the wrong way, so it puts the engine too far back. So we're going to lift it up, turn those around, bring it back forward, so that I'm guessing it would clear the cab better. Here we're just pulling the engine out so that I can mount the transmission up to it. get everything lined up and torque all the bell housing bolts down. This is another time lapse. I'm just kind of putting all my bolt-on parts on while it's bolted in. Kind of all that I was able to do for the rest of that night. So I put in new water pump. I cleaned it all up, put a new seal on it. I did the fuel heater delete, so my brother was putting that all together. Put a new oil filter on, new fuel filter on, and a couple other little things, trying to figure out how to get the alternator bolted up. So that'll be another video on its own, how I'm going to do the alternator. And I also installed a new fuel pump. Got the engine set in. These have to point forward. When you turn it back, it's almost like the engine's too far back. Had to cut that off. Have very little clearance between the vacuum pump and the power steering pump. So one side, driver's side, this points up. Passenger side, it points the other way. Drive shaft needs to be lengthened. That's the factory tranny mount. Everything's all bolted up. Those are adventure vehicle motor mounts. These are first gen Cummins mounts. If you need a diagram of where to put the holes, I have a PDF of it. She's in. Well, so far that's as far as I've gotten for now. I'm going to end that video at this. I'm going to get more into the alternator and a few other things and upload another video here shortly. So thanks everyone for watching. Stay tuned for the next video.